President Trump did take the opportunity to give a speech at South Korea's National Assembly that struck at the heart of the North Korean regime. Trump warned North Korea, "Do not try us. The weapons you are acquiring are not making you safer. They are putting your regime in grave danger."
Liz, this has been maybe the worst problem for any world leader to have to deal with. And I'm a little bit concerned about the threat of an assassination and a targeted execution a la Osama bin Laden. Because we don't know to what extent Kim Jong-un would be willing to take down his entire society, a good part of South Korea, and foment tremendous instability in China with enormously damaging consequences for the entire Pacific Rim region. So I think also it's important to emphasize that President Trump extended a hand and talked about the possibility of negotiations and finding a way that is amicable towards all parties in the region. It's just too bad that his speech isn't going to be heard by a single citizen of North Korea. I think that would have had maybe the greatest impact. Liz, and it's very interesting because in an ideal situation, even if there were to be some type of liberation from the cult-like control by Kim Jong-un over North Korea, remember, this is a population that has been completely and almost incomprehensibly to us living in Western freedom, completely brainwashed for decades, for generations now. And if the regime were to change tomorrow or to be overturned, it would probably take years, if not decades, to try to bring about some normalization of North Korea's society, let alone the integration of the two Koreas into one, hopefully peaceful and prosperous peninsula. But again, I'm very concerned, going back to your first question, Kim Jong-un saw what happened to Saddam Hussein, saw what happened to Muammar Gaddafi, and I think in some ways it's quite rational of him to say, if I acquire nuclear weapons, there really is no way to overthrow me or to challenge my regime. And that's going to be the race to the finish here, because Trump obviously wants a denuclearized North Korea as the end game. And without China's help, I don't see how we're able to accomplish that.
Is there any hope, in your opinion, given Chinese interests in that area, given Chinese interests with North Korea, that they would finally just put their foot down and be like, listen, you have to stop this?
It's a possibility, Liz, but it's not going to happen, I believe, because President Trump is trying to persuade Xi Jinping on this particular swing through the region. It may happen eventually if not only the South Koreans accept American nuclear weapons, as they had until the early 1990s when they were removed, but really I think if the U.S. and Japan work out an arrangement where Japan is able to achieve an independent nuclear arsenal, that might be what finally tips China's hand and looks to work with the United States and Japan to bring about a different regime in North Korea. But I don't think anything is going to be happening in any major way right now because, A, China enjoys having North Korea become this problem for the United States, for Japan. It keeps all of China's adversaries on their heels. And it also makes everyone come to China for help and makes China a much more important player in trying to achieve any diplomatic solution to these Pacific region problems.
Critics of President Trump's foreign policy who have said by handling North Korea in the way that Trump is handling North Korea, by taking this, hard line position against the nuclearization of North Korea, that Trump is actually pushing North Korea and Iran, two rogue nuclear nations, together instead of keeping them as far apart as can be, which may make the world a safer place. What is your analysis of that?
I disagree fundamentally. Anyone who tracks the history of these two countries knows that North Korea and Iran have good military-to-military relations dating back at least 3 decades to the formation of the radical Islamist Republic of Iran. And if anyone looks at the missiles that the two countries have been developing, their physical characteristics are startlingly similar. They're trading secrets. They're watching one another in terms of their regional destabilization activities. You see what North Korea is doing, challenging Japan and challenging the United States. And look at what Iran is doing in Syria, in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Yemen, in Bahrain. And I think in many ways, it's led to these latest moves by the Saudi government to really upend the way the Saudi economy and the Saudi political system is going to be proceeding. So, no, there's nothing that Trump is doing. And I would say one more thing, Liz. I think it's about time that the United States president made very clear, enough with the platitudes to Kim Jong-un. They have failed for 25 years through Clinton, Bush, and Obama to achieve the desired outcome. And I think Trump is moving in the generally right direction. And I think putting Kim Jong-un on notice that there are going to be limits to what's acceptable is going to force not only North Korea's hand, but most importantly, again, China's.